Welcome back to my channel. Stay tuned to our channel for sports and entertainment news all the time. Please subscribe the channel. Richard Schaefer returns to boxing fold with Canelo Alvarez. When Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford meet in Las Vegas during the second week of September, a familiar face will be on the scene. Richard Schaefer is back in boxing. Schaefer, 63, was born and raised in Switzerland. His father was a successful banker, and he followed in his footsteps. In 1981, he came to the United States to study the differences between the American and European banking systems. By 1997, he was deputy CEO for all of UBS's private banking operations in the United States. A life of wealth in the financial sector lay ahead of him. Then he changed course. Schaefer had been a boxing fan since childhood. "I remember as a boy," he says, "waking up in the middle of the night, sneaking into the living room and turning on our old black and white TV to watch Muhammad Ali without the sound on so I wouldn't wake my parents." The seeds for Schaefer transitioning from banking to a career in boxing were planted in 1994 when he got married. Lilia was a legal secretary for a law firm that had an office in the same building as the bank, he later reminisced. "We crossed paths from time to time, but it took 6 months for me to get up the courage to ask her out. Finally, we were alone on the elevator one morning, and I seized on the moment." One of Lilia's nephews was Raul James, who at the time was working closely with Oscar de la Hoya. Schaefer met him through Raul. Fast forward to 2000. De la Hoya had just lost to Felix Trinidad and wanted to build a business portfolio to prepare for life after boxing. But he didn't know how. So he asked for help. "I wouldn't have given up what I had at the bank just to be involved in Oscar's boxing career," Schaefer said years later. "It was Oscar's vision for the future that excited me. The Hispanic market is strong in the United States. I was aware of the immense popularity that Oscar had, and I felt that he could become an important brand. So I sat down with Oscar and his attorney. I said, 'This is what I make at the bank. This is what I want you to pay me.' They said yes, and we had a deal." Schaefer resigned from his job at UBS. "Both of my parents were very unhappy," he remembers. The first issue that Schaefer faced in his new role was how to build a business empire around De La Hoya. He wanted to do for him what Mark McCormack had done for Arnold Palmer and David Falk did for Michael Jordan. Under Schaefer's guidance, De La Hoya's portfolio expanded to include extensive real estate and media holdings and a substantial equity position in Major League Soccer's Houston Dynamo. But Golden Boy Promotions became Schaefer's top priority. Schaefer built Golden Boy into a formidable boxing promotional company. De La Hoya's status as an active fighter gave them significant leverage with HBO, the dominant funding source of that era. But Roy Jones and Lennox Lewis had similar leverage as fighters. They also established promotional companies, and neither of their companies had significant long-term success. Schaefer, Golden Boy's master architect, was the difference. But over time, he grew frustrated, believing that De La Hoya's personal issues were keeping them from developing the Golden Boy empire as effectively as possible. "There were two Oscars," Schaefer says. "There was the Oscar I got involved with at the beginning, and then there was the second Oscar." Meanwhile, De La Hoya came to believe that Schaefer was failing to fulfill his fiduciary obligation to the company. There was an ugly split and litigation that ended in a settlement calling for a multimillion-dollar payment to Golden Boy. "I was with Oscar from 2000 to 2014 and doing something I loved to do," Schaefer say. "We had 14 great years together and 3 very bad months at the end." In 2016, Schaefer returned to boxing with the backing of institutional investors and founded Ringstar Sports. "We signed Joe Joyce and Tony Yoka out of the Olympics," he said. "And we had some other promising fighters.